If you are wanting to know how to use Premiere Pro and you have never used it before, you're in the right place. Make sure to stay tuned and watch the whole video so I can teach you how to use Premiere Pro. So the first thing you'll see when you open up Premiere Pro is something that looks like this. You won't have these options here to open up a recent project you've been working on. So the first thing you want to do is go new project. Then you are shown with this. You can name it, so I'm just going to name this test whatever. I'm just going to name it test for this example, and then you can pick the location that you want to save it to. Then press OK. Now you'll be shown up with this. Don't need to worry about any of these other tabs that just have different things, and so just stay on the editing one there. Now you've got to import your video, so you can do file import or recent files or whatever. You can also go media browser, look through there. But how I like to do is I just like to go to my folder and my files and just drag and drop. So once you drag and drop, which in this case I have just put in my computer wallpaper that I recorded. Now there's a few things that pop up. You see that it comes up there. You don't really need to worry about this too much. This is the main thing here. So this is like the whole thing, and you can press play or play through the whole thing. This screen here is showing you what this is here. Now this is the timeline, and I'm going to be showing you some basic things. So before we get into it, there's some basic keybinds which I use, C and V. Basically C just gets to the razor tool so you can cut things up, which we'll get onto in a bit more. V then goes back to the select tool, which I use a lot. You can also do control Z to undo things, and I use Alt and the mouse scroll wheel so I can zoom in and out of the timeline instead of needing to do this all of the time. So now onto actually cutting and how that works. So once you have your razor tool selected, you can find like an area. So let's just say for this example that I want to remove this whole like day section and I just want it to be up to night. So I can zoom in a bit here, and I can find where it first starts to go from night to day. Also, you can use the arrow keys to go frame by frame and hold it down to play it through. So I'm just going to cut it from there. So you just click on the line there. I'm going to play it through until it gets to nighttime again. And there we are, it's nighttime again. Then I cut it on the other side. Then I'm going to press V to get my selection tool, and then I'm just going to click on that middle section here. So this middle section here is the part that I don't want. So I click it, and then you can do like cut or whatever. I just like to press delete on my keyboard. Then you can pick it up and drag it across the timeline with your mouse. Then you can play it cross. So you can see, obviously it's not the smoothest transition in the world. You can kind of see it like cutting and that, but now it is pretty much all nighttime there. So now it's all nighttime. Now, if for whatever reason you import a video and it's like this, there's a black background right there. What you can do is you can select it here by clicking on it. You can then go over to the motion thing where it says scale, and you can just either you can click on it and type in a number, or you can just click and drag to either the left or right to zoom it in. If you accidentally move it, you can quickly just do reset perimeter and it defaults back. And the ones above it, we have the position, position for left and right, and we also have the position for up and down. Now when you do this, if you're like doing the click and drag thing, to make the footage go up, you actually have to drag it down, and vice versa for that. You can do things like keybinds and things like that, which if you do want to see me do more tutorials on how to use Premiere Pro with more specific things like keybinds, or not keybinds, like keyframes and more specific things, let me know in the comments down below. Also make sure to like and subscribe so I know that you actually like these tutorials and you want to see me do more tutorials. Like I might do one on Photoshop or something on how to make a YouTube thumbnail. I have done one of them in the past, but it's probably really outdated now. Anyways, so the next thing is, it doesn't matter for this case because there's no audio. So on the timeline, we have slots up here. So these slots are for visuals. You can also expand upwards so there's more room if you need to for layers or whatever. And then down below we have audio. Now there's no audio for this, but if there was, then it would basically show up the same like this, but underneath, and there'd be like little squiggly lines. Let me see if I can find some audio to put in. So the audio would look something like this, lots of squiggly lines up and down, up and down. Now if you do have audio and say for example the audio is either too loud or too quiet, then you can select it, right click on the audio, and then go audio gain. And then to make it louder, just type in a positive number, so like 34. You don't want to do that because that will probably be really loud and kill your ears. Or like 5, or usually for my videos, every time I just adjust by 5. I can probably just adjust that on the actual hardware itself without needing to do it every time in Premiere Pro. But then you can also, to make it quieter, you just do negative and whatever, or like negative 25, which is what I do to the music in the background of my hardcore series. And then you can play with it and do that. Let me tell you a funny story real quick. So my friend, the Rage Gamer, at school we had to do a thing where we had to make a video for school on a book, and it was like a book trailer. And he, like during class, he just decided to adjust the audio gain to make it ear rape, and like just for fun and whatever, and he was going to change it back later, but he never actually did change back the audio. So when we watched it as a class, it actually, I'm pretty sure he actually like broke a speaker. Oh my gosh. I'm pretty sure he actually like broke one of the speakers or something because of how loud it was. If I can, he put it in like the Discord a while ago. If I can find the music, I'll put it in right now. But it was funny. It was so funny. Anyways, back onto the video. So that is the audio. Now there are a few more things you can do with effects. Effects are really cool here, especially the audio transitions and the video transitions. So for this case, I'm going to use video transitions. Now there's a lot more video transitions than audio transitions. So I usually do, what is it, dissolve? Yes, I do dissolve, and then I do like cross dissolve, or what does this do? Or like, what I might do is like at the end of a time lapse or something, I might do this dip to black, or like at the end of the video, it's going to dip to black and fade out. You can also do dip to white, so it does the opposite. It goes from it goes to white, which, gee, that's interesting. And then there's also other things like slides, and it pushes it, so in between things, I don't know if it'll work here, it like, geez, that's laggy. It like just pushes it across, and that obviously you can see that it kind of turns into daytime and that, but there are some things like that you will have to probably figure out, and you can adjust like the length of that as well. Then it's the same for the audio transitions, and there's crossfade, and there's these three. You can experiment with these things, and obviously there's video effects as well, which that gets really complex, and there's lots of things like blurs, which I might do a whole separate video on if you do want to see that. And once you have your video and you're happy with it and you want to post it on YouTube now, or you want to export it, you're ready to show someone, what you want to do is you want to go to file, make sure you save all the time. Even though there is an autosave, I never save all the time, and one time I was doing something and it crashed and like I lost a bunch of progress, and that also happened to Zeta as well. He said that he was editing for like 2 hours and he had turned autosave off, and he lost like 2 hours of editing, which is a big rip. But you want to go to export media. If that doesn't show up, I think there could be like a thing like, I don't know, there is like sometimes where it's like grey like that and you can't actually click it. You click around and make sure you're selected on the thing, you don't have anything selected. Also, I don't know if it actually does anything, but I just always put my whatever this thing is at the start of the footage, then go export media. And this is where there's some interesting things. So the format you want to export it in is in H.264. this will allow you to do, this is like video and that, you really don't have to worry about any of these other things. And obviously if you want like just audio, you can just do MP4. I don't really know about any of the other things here. Then presets. So for YouTube, I export as YouTube 1080p full HD. If I'm not going to put a video on YouTube or whatever, I just do high quality 1080p HD. And obviously there's things like for Facebook, for Vimeo, Twitter, a bunch of other things. In this example, it's a YouTube video. Most I'm posting this on YouTube. Most of you probably wanting to know for YouTube. Let's just do YouTube 1080p full HP. And then for the output name, if you click on that, it will allow you to change the name. Now, you don't have to worry about any of the things in here. I don't anyways, at least. And then once you've got your format correct, which after you set the format once, it should just stay the same. With the preset, you will have to change that each time. It is a bit annoying. There's probably a way to make it so it's default to that, but I don't know about it. And then obviously output name, you're going to want to name it something different each time depending on what the video is. And then once you've done that, you just press export. And it just does that. Video is exported successfully. And obviously, depending on how beefy your computer is, it would take either a long time, a short time, depends on how long the actual footage is. But now you're done and you can do whatever you want with that video, whatever you're planning to do with that video. So I'm going to wrap that up there. If you think there's anything that I missed out on and you want me to do a separate video on that, anything you want me to do a specific video on, then make sure you let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week with another video. So goodbye.